Hello, I bet you thought you saw the last of my dumbass, but no, I'm back, just like a
Yes.
good case of cancer.
Hi, Ed. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good.
I'm surprised you had the nuts to come back after your debut video was like Persona 5 sucks. Not really.
Well, you see, this time, we've actually agreed on something we both like.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about something that makes us happy.
Alright, I should add, while the first bit of this is going to be relatively spoiler-free, I wrote 7 pages of notes
He
for
did.
this.
And they're very nice and organized.
Yeah, I wrote 7 pages of notes, and the first section is mostly spoiler-free, and little bits and examples that do spoiler things will be taken note of and probably mentioned in advance. So you can, without even knowing shit about Digital Devil Saga, listen to the first, I don't even know how long of this, completely guilt-free, so that's good for you. So let's start off with a good old discussion of gameplay. So
Oh,
the
boy.
mantra system, what... So I start with a little topic here. Did you prefer... we should probably explain the gist of the mantra system before we get in.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
So, for those of you who may or may not fuck. For those of you who may or may not know, the entire gist of Digital Devil Saga is basically you become your demon and you get these things called mantras. They're kind of like the Nocturne Magatamas, kind of not. Well, they're basically the same shit, but. And basically, what you do with the mantras is you consume hundreds of thousands of Jack Frosts like I did, just scooping them off the streets and shoving them down your throat. You basically build up these things called Atma points, and once you put enough into a mantra, it completes, kind of, again, like a Magatama, and you get a shitload of skills for it. In 1, it's more of a linear system where it just breaks off in branches, and in 2, it's more of a hexagonal system where when you get 1, the 6 surrounding it get
Yeah,
activated.
it's a huge grid. It's like a sphere.
Yeah, I actually much prefer that. We can get into that in a little bit. So, what did you make of this? What did you do with it?
Well, I think first we gotta kind of compare it to other SMT games, because Digital Devil Saga sometimes gets flack for being like... I think people think it's more like in line with Final Fantasy or whatever than SMT, because you don't recruit demons, you are your own demon
Right.
in this.
But the thing is, it's not like other more party-based games where your characters have their own specializations and shit. They do have stat specializations, but if if you're a massive grinding faggot like I am, you can functionally make any character any class and teach them any
Yes.
skill.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Argilla starts off as more like an Earth Mage healer type, but if you want, you can turn her a fucking Ice Mage, Berserker, crazy person. Like, it really doesn't matter.
Argilla? What? I thought her name was Argilla.
I don't know, I pronounce it Argilla. I like that hard G sound.
Yeah, I get you. That's fair. But yeah, let's see. One of my favorite things is late game heat with Salvation.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You know, mister, I can punch a hole through a man, but I'm still going to heal you. But right, when it comes to 1, I do appreciate how, at least in 1, it was easier to get Atma in general. Like, just bear with me here, because a lot of people are going to disagree with me here if they're familiar with the game.
Alright.
I feel like it was easier to get Atma in the first game as opposed to the second game, despite the abundance of Atma increasing skills in the second game. You can just consume semi-Ls with, what is it, Insatiable or Devour or something like that, and just RNG the shit out of them and eat them for fuckloads of Atma points. For reference, I found out about, after, I think it was, well, the game was on fast forward, but I think I accrued, I'm not even sure that's even the right word. I acquired at least like 60 hours in the game with the thing on fast forward, and I found out you could.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I have a problem. But I found out you could use these basically RNG box drops in 2 to get stat increasing items. They just save scummed the shit out of the game and gave everybody like level 99 and everything. Did you go the route of me, where you made everybody good at everything, and by that I mean...
No, I'm not criminally insane. I usually play role-playing games in more like a just go through the motions kind of way, where I won't really spend time grinding unless I fight a boss and I'm like, I'm so not fucking ready for this, and then I'll spend like an hour or 2 getting stronger.
This game has probably some like the best, it does the best job of intertwining gameplay with plot that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah. A lot of the time, like, SMT kind of has this difficulty, I guess, kind of figuring out, do I want to be story mode now, or do I want to be, like, gameplay mode? Like, especially with Nocturne, it feels like that was definitely a game design, more like, let's make game, and then we'll figure out kind of the story after.
I've always thought of Nocturne more as like, let's just make a heavy metal album a video game.
Yeah.
Like on my mind, when I think like, okay, what is the one scene I would use to summarize the entirety of Nocturne? In my mind immediately goes the cage match with Thor.
Yeah.
But right, to backpedal a bit again, yeah, the final, like, by the end of the game, every boss was a joke. I was ridiculously overleveled. I had probably the most bullshit passive that I don't think I even need to explain what it does. It's just null attack
Right.
on
Yeah,
all
fair.
of my characters.
Fair.
I don't even need to explain that. But yeah, I'm guessing you went more for specialization with your characters.
Yeah, I kind of stick to themes. Like, I would generally Surf would be like, I'm Ice Guy and I know some almighty attacks, and like I'd keep Argula with healing magic and earth stuff.
Right, and
So, yeah.
and he would be like Agadine and punching people's heads off. I'm
Right,
guessing.
exactly. Because I kind of like to stick to themes when it comes to
Right.
characters like that.
So I'm guessing Cielo was spent the entire game on the bench, and Gale was the red mage.
No, I actually used Cielo and Gale
Really?
as my main guys. Yeah, I swapped Argula out for Cielo or Gale or one of them.
I think I dropped Argilla for Gale as well, because well, Gale can punch people's heads off and shit heals, so it kind of works out in my favor. So let's see. Okay, here's another good bit. Did you even bother with the optional bosses?
I did not really. I think I fought like a couple of them, but I never really went out of my way, because for a lot of them I just didn't know they existed.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine who was familiar with the game basically tell me your choices will matter in the second game. And he also sent me a guide to optional bosses, which was nice because, God, some of those are fucking obtuse.
Mm-hmm.
Like Yamato Orochi, let's go into this sewer, into this one out-of-the-way door that you get the key to from fucking swimming around in, like, a shit tube for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets you fight the 8-headed super noodle, Yamato no Orochi, and you get, like, garbage. Let's see, I did all of them, as I think I told you.
Yeah.
Mostly because somebody told me, hey, if you fill out the entire monster grid, and then I just caught them off there. It's like, okay, I'm filling out the entire monster grid.
I didn't care. That was too daunting of a challenge for me.
It actually wasn't nearly as bad as you'd think it would be.
Mm.
Then again, I just left the game on fast forward. I taped down my buttons and I just went to sleep.
Oh, really? That's what you did?
Well, that's what I did in 2. In 1, I was there for every single moment of grinding.
Wow.
I'm a madman.
You're nuts.
You should see like my hour count in Persona Q. I think it's 450 hours.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
I did the first campaign, the P3 campaign, then the P4 campaign, then every single side quest.
Jesus fucking
And I also filled
Christ.
out the compendium. I have a problem. I have a problem. Is there like an Alcoholics Anonymous for people who can't stop playing JRPGs?
Grinders Anonymous? I think you'd end up with a lot of strippers and gay men.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that sounds like fucking Tinder for hookers.
You're like, no, wait, this isn't the right place for me.
Well, let's see. You mind if I go on about the optional bosses for a while?
Yeah,
in
sure, go
1?
ahead.
Because I didn't even bother in 2, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On 1, let's see. A really nice one was right at the very end of the game. The bullshit thing about unlocking this is you'll know when it unlocks when you get to the final room of the game before fighting Harihara.
Really?
Yeah, you talk to Gale, and he's like, "Oh, if we go past this door, like the generic, this is the final boss. Go back now if you have shit to do." Conversation tree.
Yeah.
Then you go to the very bottom of the Karma Temple.
Oh my god.
Walk out of it, and there's one of your guys like, "Oh no, these rookies just jumped onto the scene, and we've lost contact with X, 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 and X." So you go to, I think it was. I don't know the name. Like, they're just big fancy Hindu karma names for all them, but it's like
Yeah.
whatever the hell Harley's crew was. What were they called?
Was it the Solids? That wasn't it, right?
The Solids were. I think it was the Solids. Maybe it was one of them.
The Solids were led by a big fat guy, right?
Yes, Mick the Slug.
Yeah, Mick the Slug.
Honestly, what was it? We're going to tear you apart, you fat freak. This game has some of the best, like, unintentionally hilarious dialogue.
It's pretty good.
It's
like cheesy, like under budget dub like quality. That's what I like about it.
and it somehow works, and the plot is still somehow, despite this, absolutely fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, I like how Gale's voice, like, he's not trying, but it fits, because that's his Gale's character.
Because
then he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, his entire character is he's not even trying. But right, you go to all of those places, you fight, I think it's Chinese mythological creatures, then you go back to the Karma Temple, climb to, like, the second to last floor.
Why?
Go through go to some, like, out-of-the-way teleportation puzzle, and then you fight Huang Long. Oh, let's see, you can also fight good old Betatron if you try hard enough.
I know he's one of them.
Let's see.
I never fought him.
What are the prerequisites for fighting Metatron? I believe it's you kill the 4 holy beasts, unlock Huang Long, and then you go beat the massive Death Noodle, and then you go beat
massive Death Noodle.
Yeah,
who is the massive Death Noodle?
Yamato no Orochi.
Oh.
And you go to the spooky haunted mansion, and then you just find this random fuckboy who's just like, "Oh, what's that ring? Did you kill my girlfriend?" And you could be like, "What? What?" And then he's like, "I'm gonna kick your ass, kid," and he just becomes Metatron. Like, I'm not even kidding. The guy doesn't even have a name. He's just called Rookie. He just shows up.
Hell of a fucking rookie.
He just shows up, and then it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna show you what happens when you fuck with me," and then it just cuts to Metatron. But yeah, you didn't even bother, did you?
No, I didn't care. I both did not care and didn't know about them.
But right, I did this just to get the unique boss mantras, which the bonus... Do you want to know the bonus you get for filling out every single mantra in Digital Devil Saga 1 on every single character?
Yes, please tell me.
You get a +5 to every stat.
Cool.
That's it. And you actually do get a really cool ring for killing the Demi-Fiend. Fuck the Demi-Fiend. God.
Yeah, good fucking Christ.
We've all... I'm pretty sure if everyone's seen, like, oh god, the hardest JRPG boss ever. Like, we've all seen that video. And it's the fucking Demi-Fiend where it's like you breathe in his general direction, he just casts Gaia Rage. Like, I could probably crack open Cheat Engine and still not beat him.
Yeah, he's bullshit. Like, a lot of the SMT, like, secret bosses are designed more like puzzles than fights, necessarily.
Yeah, like Elizabeth, for example. It's just just like, do this on this turn.
Yeah, and there's very specific things you need to do. And, like, at that point, I feel like it's not even a fight. It's just tedious, like... You're not playing the game the way you want to.
Right.
You have to adhere to its rules.
If I may go on a quick little tangent here, let's talk about Masakato, this Masakato super boss in SMT4.
Okay.
Where you have to get pure skills from the DLC, other DLC, to even fight him.
Right. That's genuinely, like, really bullshit.
I mean, Atlas doesn't have the best track record with super bosses.
I think Caroline and Justine were pretty good, because that's like an actual fight.
Yeah.
And you don't have to adhere... Yeah.
It's not really a puzzle, it's more of it's a DPS race, basically. Yeah. But let's get back to the topic. We have flown far.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, let's see. Here's a good one. Did you think it was easy to bullshit the mantra system?
If you spent the time and you thought, oh boy, this looks easy to bullshit, I will bullshit it like you did. But I never go into games with the mentality of like, let me 100% complete this and get everything. I just kind of get what I need to get by, I guess.
Right. I mean, you can probably see where a different playstyles come into play, and you can probably tell how my playstyle broke me in the second game, as we will get to. So let's see. This is going to be a little bit of a back and forth part. General game concepts and little bits of gameplay you really enjoyed. So let's see. I really like the idea of transforming into your demons. It's kind of like a twist on the Persona formula, if that was even established at the time of Digital Devil Saga's release, which I don't think it was. I think Persona 3 came out in 2006.
Well, Persona 2 came out, like...
Persona 2 did come out, but it wasn't...
Persona 1 even came out, like...
Right, but I feel like the thing is... Like, comparing 2 to 3 is like a very apples to oranges type thing. Right. So I wouldn't really even say, like, the Persona formula was really even established in 1 and 2, because that was definitely more Shin Megami Tensei.
That leans more towards SMT.
Yeah, more like fuse and fuse, delete, fusion materials, blah, 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 like that whole line of thinking. Instead of just like your party member has X, and they can do this, and this. Like, it was, I'd say it's kind of like, sort of the seedling of what would become Persona party members. Modern Persona party members. Oh, here we go. Cielo is probably the best... one of, if not the best, comic relief character in Megami Tensei to me.
I love Cielo. Cielo is... I don't know if him or Gale are my favorite character. It's between the two of them, for sure.
Yeah, they're both very good in their own different ways, but I feel like we can both agree that Cielo is a fantastic comic relief character. Like, he doesn't feel like he's bullshitting. He doesn't feel like he's there to be like, the Yosuke, be like, oh man, I'm gonna pee my pants. like Cielo's whole, I guess.
I like the idea of Cielo being in demon form and pissing his pants.
Maybe it's like a fucking seagull where they just shit in the air and they're like, haha, I got directed.
Yeah, man, directed.
I feel like he felt real. He felt like a genuine, like, not so bright wise ass. And I really like how his fourth wall, like, his humor was bordering on fourth wall breaking the whole time. Where like, does he know, or what? Like the entirety of the game. Like, what comes to mind is like where he pokes fun at Gale, constantly going, "I do not comprehend." He's like, "Oh, why don't you say that anymore, Mon? You used to say that all the time." Yuri Lowenthal voices 3 characters in this game.
Yuri Lowenthal is everybody in every Megami Tensei thing.
He's every male, like generic male cultist in Devil Survivor Overclocked.
Yeah, he is.
It's honestly astonishing how much you hear this man's voice, but...
Yeah, Yuri is one of those guys where he's got such a distinct voice and he never really changes it. So it's like anytime you play a game and he pops up, it's like, there's Yuri, there he is.
Yuri voices 3 different characters in this game.
Mm-hmm.
He voices the main character, Surf. He voices the kitty cat that shows up all over the place, and he voices...
Schrodinger, yeah.
Yes, Schrodinger. And he also voices... Surf in flashbacks back before the whole plot happened.
Well, those are basically the same guy. So I don't know if that one even counts. I mean, they're not the same guy, but...
They're the same... Yeah, I mean, they would have the same voice, but in terms of, like, characters, they're completely separate.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about combo skills. Holy fuck, combo skills are awesome.
Those are really cool. They're like the Persona fusion spells, but more badass, usually.
Yeah, like, and they also have more sensible combinations of, like, the super gimmicky shit in Persona 3.
Yeah, Persona 3, a lot of them are designed more around, like, what are 2 cutesy, like, mythological things we can pair together that would make, like, a cool attack?
Like the Jack Bros spell, for example.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's more like, say... X character has Mind Charge, B character has Terukaja. Bam, you can now cast the Digital Devil Saw equivalent of Lester Candy on your entire party. And you can also get Debilitate, Takunda. Like, I think by the end of Digital Devil Saga 2, I had organized my party in such a way where I had every single mod Dying Tier spell, Charge, Debilitate, Takunda, Takaja, and several physical and almighty spells just at my fingertips. Right, and then it gets even more broken when you get things like the Synchro Ring in 2, where it halves the cost of combo spells.
Jesus.
Yeah, that played in very much into my final boss strategy for 2, where it's just like the pass ring, where you can pass without giving up a press turn. And
what?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Wow.
So what I'd do is I'd have my first character, who is spoiler name, which we'll talk about later. I'd basically have them pass for free, have Gale cast Charge to buff up the entire party, then have, I think it was Cielo, do some other cool magical bullshit, and then I just go back to the character with 1 free turn, just cast Salvation for free. Now, can we talk about how fantastic the soundtrack of Digital Devil Saga is?
Ooh, it's pretty good.
It's absolutely fucking amazing. Like, it has, at the same time, some of the best, like, let's sit down, chill out, pour a drink type songs, and, like, some of the best... It has some of my favorite boss fight themes, period. Like, something that Shoji Meguro really excels at here, in Digital Devil Saga especially, is establishing tone through his music. Like, let's see, there is... As we've probably established in little bits and pieces here, there's a very militaristic theme to Digital Devil Saga, where it's war, basically.
Yeah, it's very cool, because that's pretty different from, like, a lot of the other SMT games, where it's less military and more like almost verging on fantasy, kinda. Like, right. SMT4 is samurai, and also they have guns.
Gun samurai fighting demons and post.
Yeah, so it's more like like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like cyberpunk, kinda.
Yeah, it's definitely like bordering on trenchcoat cyberpunk. Not like pink mohawk cyberpunk, even though there are people with pink hair, but some, like, the 2 major boss themes, Hunting Comrades and Big Battle. Hunting Comrades plays, I think, on 3 occasions 2 of which are mandatory. But Hunting Comrades is definitely this is not according to plan, what the fuck are we going to do? But as the song goes on, it settles into more of this, we have our plan, we can take care of this type of feeling.
Yeah, I like those kinds of boss battle themes where it can fluctuate just depending on, like, how the battle is going.
Right.
So, like, no matter what's happening, it feels appropriate, basically.
So yeah, like, per se, in the first boss fight where Hunting Comrades plays up, it's a shock. It's, oh no, this person we trusted is
a crazy demon.
Yeah, and they're trying to kill us, and the beginning of the song fits this perfectly, but as it goes on, it settles in that there's no saving her, you need to kill her.
Yeah, you just gotta kill her.
And the music mellows out into more of this, it's done, we need to kill her, accept it. And this is compared to Big Battle, which is more of a we've succeeded in our mission, kill the target type boss theme. It's very cold, very mechanical, very, we got this, time to we're going to eat you, you fat freak. Like, that kind of shit.
My favorite song in both of them is Hunting Betrayal. But it's a pretty boring answer, because a lot of people like that song a lot.
Hunting Betrayal? Yeah, I mean, fair enough. It's pretty good as well. I really like Battle for Survival in 2, which is probably one of the best normal battle themes.
Yeah, that song's so good!
It's really fucking good. You better put that on in the background. At least one of these.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have like the whole... Probably by the time we're done with this, both soundtracks will have played to completion.
All 4 of the integral soundtrack CDs are going to have gone by.
Wait, there's 4 of them?
There are 4 discs in like the...
oh yeah, okay.
In the whole thing. It's 2 per game. I also love how the track Prayer has plot significance and makes Sarah not absolutely like worthless as a character, but while at the same time still being an actual musical track that's good to listen to. So this is where we're starting to border onto general discussion, spoiler talk, which is where we're going to go back to the little bits we were talking about earlier. Going back to the Cielo point that I aborted earlier, talking about his humor, he starts cracking jokes about his own death in 2. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it can basically be summarized. Did you see how fucking cool I was when I died, dude?
Yeah.
Yo, I should have fired my laser. I would have survived longer.
I mean, would you not be like if you end up in hell, as both of us undoubtedly will, and I just pop in there, and you like died in an explosion, wouldn't you be like, dude, that was so cool, right?
Yeah, Cielo, genuinely fantastic, fun character, and I really loved him.
Yeah, I like all the characters in Digital Devil Saga. Like, Megami Tensei tends to have this weird philosophy of
dog shit.
Right, yeah. It's either like sometimes they'll go into like full caricature, like stereotype mode. Like, I will be chaos character, and that's my trait. Or
let's talk about Izamo from Nocturne real quick. Lonely loser sits alone.
Yeah, he's like Adachi if Adachi talked to a god.
I thought every character in Digital Devil Saga was good for different reasons, but I still think some of them needed more screen time.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the tribal leaders were very underestablished, but a character that I'm really pleased with the amount of screen time he got was Bat.
Oh, just saying that word just gives me an uncomfortable, glut in my stomach.
I fucking love him so
Glut?
much.
Why did I just call him Glut? Bat is genuinely one of the top 10 greatest video game villains of all time.
He's such a scumbag.
It genuinely takes a lot of effort for me to hate a character, because at the end of the day, I know that they're not real, right?
Right.
I hated Bat so fucking much, because not only is he just an insidious, traitorous cunt, but his boss battle is fucking infuriating, and he shows up like 3 times!
Can we talk about how he has probably the best death in the entire fucking series?
Yeah, please. Oh.
So you're basically luring this entire militarily trained tribe into a massive oil tanker, basically.
Yeah.
Little detail, you
big
can
shell.
actually... I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but you can actually see this boat in a flashback of Sarah basically talking to the progenitors of that became our characters. Like, she's having a little volleyball game. You see this exact boat in the background.
Really?
Yeah, you know, the volleyball scene, you can see the boat that this whole thing happened on in the background during that scene.
I never noticed that.
I have a very good eye for this kind of thing.
That never crossed my mind.
There are so many good little details like that in Digital Devil Saga.
I'm like, yeah, it's a boat.
Yeah, it's a boat, but like after a while I thought about it, I'm like, wait, that's the same boat. But right, you're basically filling every floor of like basically duct taping C4 to the
With
generator.
bombs.
Yeah, of every generator on every floor of this entire boat. And you get to the top and Argilla's getting her ass whooped by Bat and having an existential crisis. You're like, yo, I'm gonna kick your ass, fucko. And mind you, this is after, let's see, Bat's cheesed it after you set him free the first time when you were fighting with Jinana. After the second time where he got his fucking arm blasted off by Cielo, who just zoomed on by. Right. He didn't make it out of this fight. You kick his ass, and you kind of just leave him there and fly away. And he's kind of sitting there like, oh man, I'm alive. Time to leave. And then you hear like the click, and the camera just like turns.
It's so good. Because it's like, finally, like, there's no conceivable way this fucker can survive that. If not, he's a fifth dimensional entity. Like, it's so... Is there any better way to kill something than to just explode them?
Like, that, like, it looked like a fucking atom bomb went off. That boat was gone.
Like, that whole setup, like, as arduous and kind of annoying as it was worth it to kill just Bat.
Like that look of oh shit on his face when the fire is rushing towards him.
So good.
Then just cut to Surf and everybody looking at the boat just disappear. Let's end that ends general talk, and now we're going to full spoiler mode, even though we kind of already did already. Alright, so probably one of the best establishing cutscenes in any Megami Tensei game.
That scene was really good.
That scene was fantastic, and like... Also, let's talk about... Also, there's the opening movie of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see the Japanese version of it?
I don't think I have.
It plays
It
plays the Japanese version of Prayer over it.
Mm.
So we hear Sarah's song over that entire thing, and it gives it this very eerie feeling. But then you go to the American version, you have Danger, which makes it like the hypest shit.
Yeah. It's really blood pumping. It's nice.
It's great. But either way, But going back to the opening cutscene itself, it very quickly it does a very good job of establishing the world you're in. You have multiple groups at each other's throats, very militaristic, very World War I no man's land, I guess you could say.
Right.
Where nobody wants to step out of their footholds, everyone's pointing guns at each other, not firing. And there's this massive beating cyber heart thing just there in the middle of a field. And you're in your character's tribe, Surf, Heat, so on and so forth. They're setting up with their guns. They're the Embryon, and then it goes over to Harley and his... I don't even know their name, fuck it, they're just the chickens.
The chickens?
Harley and the chickens are sitting over there.
Sounds like a good name for a band.
Actually, yeah, Harley and the chickens.
So, hey guys, we're Harley and the chickens.
And they just play some shitty country, but you love it anyway. Fucking name. We're right, and it does a good job of saying, like, everyone's like, is this some sort of new weapon? What is this massive beating heart? So they basically yell at each other across the room through speakers. It's like, please remove please remove this weapon from whatever the fuck coordinates. And then the chickens look at each other, and then they repeat the same message back, and Gale looks at Surf with this look of, So, all-out battle ensues. They start opening fire. Surprisingly good-looking cutscenes for a PS2.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It looks really nice. And then you get your little glimpse of the cat to establish that he's there and he's doing his own thing, and you will not know what the fuck he is for 1 3/4 games.
I can't wait to talk about that cat.
Oh god, yeah, fair warning. As Fither mentioned to me privately, there's a very real possibility this might just break off into 2 videos when we start talking about the ending of 2, because I don't know what the fuck I watched. And we have fucking Vatty Video over here, ready to teach me.
I kind of get it. If I don't get it, I can at least come up with theories about it.
Oh god. So eventually this massive beating organ monstrosity explodes, green balls of light fly through everybody's chests, and the camera that was on Surf's side falls to the ground, and this is where your perspective shifts to. And you just see everyone morphing into demons, basically. And they just start massacring the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it's genuinely really gruesome and disturbing.
Yeah, admittedly, the blood sound effects, they're campy as shit.
Yeah, they're cheesy, but I kind of like that.
Yeah, they're cheesy, but they're only cheesy now because we live in, the world where everybody uses those same sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, it probably would, it's still fucking gruesome and genuinely bone-chilling. but I feel like it would have had an even bigger effect in Yield in, what was it, 2003?
Yeah, 15,000 years ago.
Yeah, 15,000 years ago, back when internet was still fucking screaming at you whenever you used too much of it. And you and your characters wake up, and this is where another little detail I really like about the game comes up. This area is later labeled as Ground Zero, basically.
Yeah.
It's where the entire plot, it's where the catalyst of the plot happens, and you can actually come and visit it at any time, and it's just there. It's a location you can just nose around, and
just check out. Yeah.
I really like that. I really like that they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to like model it as a walkable space, but they did.
Right, it could have just been like cutscene and then it functionally doesn't exist.
Exactly, but they didn't have to do this, but they took the time to. And from there on, the plot kind of, it just goes. It's war. Shit happens.
Yeah, it's basically just like, here's this faction, let's kill them. Here's this. Well, it's slightly more complicated than that, but the general gist of it is,
yeah, it's
let's
like
kill every other faction.
We killed all the leaders. Now we go to Nirvana. Oh wait, Nirvana isn't what it cracked up to be. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some bits I've taken specific note of here. But let's see. There is the Ginana collapsing because she refused to eat, similar to Argilla, and this basically leading to the whole Argilla's conclusion of I have to eat if only to avenge your memory, which is her stakes in this whole mess. She wants to free she's willing to do whatever it takes to free everybody from this curse.
Yeah, it sets up a really very gruesome reality of like, we need to eat people. Like, they're basically people.
Yeah.
In order to not like go insane and then die ourselves.
And and then later into the game, there's Lupa, who lasted an astonishing amount of time without eating other people, I must say.
Yeah, and then just loses his mind.
And this is another little bit where he talks about my son will be carrying an olive branch or something along those lines, and that's touched upon later in 2. I love little plot threads like that.
Yeah.
I really love that about this series. I like how Schrodinger is just around the entire game. He doesn't really do much of note, except for that one time where he, like, danger cats an Embryon guard because Cielo just wanted to leave.
Yeah!
And save the plot.
Yes.
It's basically like, hey, Amon, there's a cat in here. And the dude's like, wait, a cat? When the fuck did a cat get here? And he opens the door, and I think Cielo just throws Schrodinger at him. and Cielo just peels out. I'm sorry, little buddy, I had to get out. Like, something like that happened.
His voice is so good!
Yeah, I should also add Cielo's a fucking Jamaican.
He
you
is.
Didn't realize already.
No, we're not just doing a stupid voice. That's actually what he sounds like.
Cut to All Alone this time. Like, the thing is, like, it's not like Teddy, where the voice doesn't really fit.
It fits. It perfectly fits the character.
It fits his character perfectly, and that's part of why Cielo is so great. Let's see, Harley and the chickens made for a very good introductory minor antagonist as, like, your tutorial dungeon.
I like how that guy is like a weird zebra thing.
Yeah, and I also like how he spends the entire thing just like, you ate all my men, fuck that, I'm done, and runs.
And runs like a chicken. Ba-doom-tish.
Exactly. That was nice.
Yeah, and that makes it better when the ones later on are actually just really fucking crazy and evil.
Yeah, like, Mick the Slug is just a piece of actual human fucking garbage. And that's part of why I loved him, that and his fucking name. Like, how do you get a name Mick the Slug? I don't... Like, his demon doesn't even look like... Wait, that means he was called Mick the Slug before he was even a demon.
Yeah.
Wait.
I think it's just like a general mafia kind of name. Like, yeah, he's Mick the Slug.
Ginana needed more character development. She needed more establishment, more screen time. Because, like, Argilla going from, like, hello to, oh my god, I'm your lesbian lover, and, like, 2 cutscenes, what?
Yeah, like, I always forget she exists, because she's so, like, not irrelevant, but she doesn't have that much story presence.
Yeah, like, she's not bad by any means, it's just she doesn't really do anything.
Right.
And from the very start, I couldn't take her seriously because her whole Atma was an ass tattoo.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, because of course
like,
it is.
Like, she's wearing, like, assless chaps like a gay stripper, and you just see, like, right in smack dab on her left butt cheek, just demon symbol.
Yeah. Argola's is, like, right on her boob, right?
Yeah,
because
like,
of course it is.
But I appreciate how, like, even though it was on her titty, it was in, like, a not... I mean, it's kind of, like, gross and fan servicey, but even then it's, like, still in a somewhat respectable place.
Right.
on her cleavage, I guess.
Mhm.
Let's see, the Two Princes thing in Dollar Store Disneyland. What the fuck was that dungeon even called? Destinyland, I think?
Isn't that just like location something?
Location 136,
Yeah.
but the speaker is like, yo, welcome to Destinyland,
Yeah.
totally not Disneyland.
Destinyland is actually a reference to Shin Megami Tensei 1. There's a dungeon,
Really?
yeah, called Destinyland.
Oh, that's nice. Makes me a little more excited to see that.
Yeah, it's a chaos stronghold.
Oh, of fucking course it is. A direct. It's Sarah basically materializing her trauma, in a way, even if she doesn't actively remember it. Because if we haven't said already, the Junkyard, the entire setting of Digital Devil Saga 1, is a simulation created by Sarah.
Right.
So I really like that whole little detail of, even though she's amnesiac, she still has this buried trauma. It's there, and even like the messages that play, they're garbled. So even then, it's still kind of fuzzy. That was, with the whole context of the series, that is fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of like Persona 1, because Persona 1 has a similar setup, where the world they end up in is like a weird creation of a particular character, but I think it's handled better in Digital Devil Saga.
Oh, definitely, because
Yeah.
Persona 1, its plot was very wonky and like it's the Phantom Blood syndrome. It's a rough start to something that became fantastic.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Nocturne was a rough start that led to Digital Devil Saga. Did I just say that?
Badoom Tish. Well, maybe we'll have to talk about that.
Someday I'll write down 10 pages of notes on Nocturne, or maybe it'll be 2 because that game is boring as fuck.
Ooh,
But,
damn, shots fired. I'm sure people hate you more after that one.
oh boy, I've just disregarded all of the good words I've said in that 30 seconds.
That is like a double Sacred Cow cook-off. It's not only are you gonna shit talk Persona 5, but Nocturne as well. You will have no friends at the end of that.
At least I like Digital Devil Saga. We're like the only 2 people who actually care about
Nobody's
this fucking
played
game.
Digital Devil Saga.
Nobody's. Like, when I streamed this, people came in like, holy shit, somebody who actually knows that this game
Yeah,
exists,
I saw
much less
that.
is streaming it.
Mhm.
Let's see. Oh, right, Lupa had a very similar issue to Ginana, where he kind of just showed up, did a thing, and then everybody kind of martyred, like, shoved them into martyrdom, even though they did, like, 2 things ever.
I remember Lupa a lot more than Ginana for some reason. I'm not quite
But
sure
probably
why.
just because Lupa's whole Berserk scene is a lot more tragic
Yeah,
than
I think
Ginana's.
I just remember his boss fight a lot more. And he's later into the game, so I think that kind of
Right.
sticks with me a little bit more.
Oh god, can we talk about the Shin Megami Tensei bullshit TM that is Lupa's final fight, like final tactic?
Tell me more.
I think Beast Roar, Power Charge,
Oh, okay,
Render,
yeah.
Rend,
Oh
Rend,
god, you're
Rend.
giving me bad flashbacks. Now I remember. Now I remember why I
I'm-
remember that boss, because it was evil.
You know how hard I grind, and he killed 2 of my party members and put the last one in the red with that bullshit tactic. And chat's like, oh, here comes the Shin Megami Tensei bullshit. I'm like, huh, what? And then my party, I'm like,
Then he
no,
does
I'm
the
over,
thing,
I'll be
yeah.
fine. And then he does the thing and nearly obliterates me. One of the 2 bosses in DDS that gave me trouble, the other being fucking... I don't even remember his name, like the lightning lard ball with the shitzillion tentacles from the second to last boss of 2. And,
Oh,
like, the
oh.
guy...
Yeah. Shit.
I
Mega
know
Nada?
yeah, something like that. Where he just like used black whatever the fuck and just like the lightning I didn't have to worry about. It was the almighty physical buttfuck 9000 that he did towards the end of his fight. You remember that?
That boss is genuinely really difficult.
Genuinely bullshit.
Yeah, that's another way of putting it.
Genuinely fucking bullshit. I'm gonna be honest, I had to cheat that boss with save states.
Really?
'Cause
Oh, you scummy motherfucker.
I was there. I got him down to the red, and he obliterated me with his physical
Yeah.
almighty ultimate move. And it got to the point where I just said fuck it and used an impel stone and just beat the shit out of him.
Pussy.
Oh,
Look, I'm sitting here like 90 levels weaker than you, half an Atma grid, and I beat it legit, and you're gonna be like, I need safe states.
look, I'm human garbage, all right. I'm not cheating. I just have bites of the dust, okay?
Yeah. That's not what bites the dust does. You gotta have a person in mind that's gotta kill somebody before it works.
Okay, Mandem.
Okay.
Shh. I can turn back time 5 seconds if I fuck up horribly. Oh, the whole mid-game twist where after beating the final tribal leader, Colonel Beck, or what was his name? Fucking Varen, or whatever his junkyard name was.
Yeah, and he knows he's Colonel Beck. Like,
Yeah, he knows who he was before getting shoved into the simulation.
Yeah, I think that whole section, like, story-wise, is my favorite part of Digital Devil Saga.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, because, like, the whole game, you know something's not quite right, but I never quite pieced it together that this is a simulation. I always just thought this is, like, a weird setting.
Like the bit that really got me was the bit where he starts pointing around, screaming, saying "You all died in the Nirvana you're trying to get to."
Right, and like and like at first you think this guy's just a nutcase, but he's actually completely correct, and it's like, oh shit, this isn't real.
And then it's like, wait, where'd Sarah go? And then it just cuts to her just cuddling a picture that's speaking with all of your characters' voices, and then just the catalyst for the finale of the game starts rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, cutting through the entirety of the Karma Temple because fuck the Karma Temple. Even worse than the Tower of Kagetsuchi. Well, actually no, the Tower of Kagetsuchi was significantly worse, but...
I think they're about on the same plane of, like, evil tower.
But at least the Karma Temple had, like, the decency to be shorter.
Towers in Megami Tensei are always evil. Like, Tartarus is evil and boring. And the Karma Temple, which is a big tower, is evil and kind of boring.
And there's no teleport point near the final boss.
And the big fucking obelisk thing in Nocturne is also...
Tower of Kagetsuchi.
Yeah, Tower of Kagetsuchi is also pretty long and boring.
Oh god, I think that in the Tower of Kagetsuchi was like a fucking 5.5 hour stream.
Oh, really?
Probably the one bearable Power of Friendship moment I've seen in... if not one of the only good Power of Friendship moment I've ever seen, was Surf. At the very end, Sarah makes it to the top of the Karma Temple before you do. And she basically summons down Jenna Angel, the person who's like, you know, you will never escape your hunger. And she's basically saying, come home with me and I won't kill your friends. Basically putting a gun to Sarah's head to just delete the entire junkyard. And Sarah basically, with her voice alone having awakened to her memories and realizing who she is and what her powers are, just tells them to stop. And they freeze. Because, you know, it's a simulation.
Right, and she basically runs the shit.
Yeah. And Surf powers through this, slowly transforming as he just painstakingly charges towards them.
Yeah, it seems really good.
And everybody else can't move, but the thing is, Heat also starts to move, but he doesn't make it as far as Surf does, which I really appreciated, actually.
That's basically the whole, that's the summary of Heat's character, is he moves, but not as far as Surf does.
Yeah, and where everybody else is kind of just there. And the second that Jenna actively lays a hand on Sarah, Surf just springs into action, ready to just chop her fucking head off, but Harihar Arm catches the blade, throws him aside, everybody's unfrozen, and just... they all just start rushing, and Heat's like, I'm gonna kick your ass! I love how Heat's entire character is like autistic shit fit the character, and it's amazing.
Heat is weird. Like, I've always thought of Heat as being this weird guy who's both alpha and beta at the same time.
Like, he's cucked by Sarah, but he doesn't know he's cucked by Sarah.
Like, he acts like he's a big alpha dude, but he doesn't get any attention from Sarah, so he ends up on the other end of the spectrum and turns beta.
He goes so far to one end, he comes out the other.
Yes,
basically.
Exactly. He tries too hard.
So, can we take a minute to talk about how fantastic Arihara is as a final boss?
Sure.
So, I really like how, you know, fucking Jenna having, you know, the Punis and the Vagoober at the same time. It's really weird. Gale likes Fuda. We'll talk about that later.
Right. Does Gale like Fuda?
Make that the title. I dare. No, don't actually make that the title. I really like how the whole I have both thing of her character fits into her demon form, which shifts between magic and physical. Right, and the ending of the game, it has, like, you haven't finished it as Sin City yet, but it has the similar issue where if you treat the game as a single story, the ending is abrupt as shit and incredibly not satisfying.
Yeah. The
game kind of just ends. The junkyard is deleted, the tower explodes, and it's like, oh no, we're all separated, but I'll find you, sir.
I'll find you.
I'll find you. Here's, like, you just see fucking wet panties flying through the air. And then you get a cool little ending scene of Sarah getting popped out of a giant egg machine. You see Surf staring at a fucked up sun. You see the cat there. That was a really nice little teaser. But what killed it for me was when, like, the story cuts, like, are you ready for the real world?
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do.
And like that's the moment where I just put my head in my hands, like, okay, that just invalidated half of this ending.
Right.
And with that, we have finished basically plot of 1. I loved it. I really did.
I wasn't
Basically,
expecting you to like it. Like, I can never quite tell with you. I told you would probably like this because it's more story and characters, but
Right.
I wouldn't tell if you were going to go in the opposite direction, be like, it's actually pretty bad, or if you were going to really like it.
I have very, very bizarre taste that even after like the months we've known each other, you still can't
Yeah.
put your finger on. But I really enjoyed it, even if it did have the like if you judge it as the end, as like the mid finale of a story, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, you gotta treat as like two halves of the same thing.
Yeah, because if you treat the ending of Innocent Sin as the end of Persona 2 as a whole, you're gonna be like, really? Really? That came out of fucking nowhere. Fuck this, I quit. And if you just jump straight into 2 without 1, you're missing a bunch of context. You're like, why does all of this shit matter?
Yeah.
You need to play them back to back, as if they were one game. So that's any little bits of plot from 1 you'd like to mention specifically before we move on to dungeons.
Not particularly. I really enjoyed it because, like, SMT a lot of the time, especially like Nocturne and some of the older games have this problem, is it's more like, let's make setting and then, like, kinda characters, and then we'll worry about the story later. Like,
admittedly, they still have great settings, but
like there's
everything else kind of falls flat.
Yeah, like there's an overall story, but it's more like just make your way through it, you know?
I feel like the only Shin Megami Tensei games that actually managed to balance story, gameplay, and setting well were probably Strange Journey and Digital Devil Saga. Although Strange Journey is a very different because I'm not sure how you feel about it, but I've seen some very negative.
Yeah, I've noticed
reviews.
This is just my what I've noticed is that to me it seems like the new meme, like the new cool thing to think is Strange Journey sucks. And I swear up and fucking down to you, a few years ago, Strange Journey was like the shit. Like that was, if you liked Strange Journey, you were a part of like some kind of weird master race. Right.
Like the fucking I played Persona 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and then you have a fucking sunglasses and a trench coat and you have the biggest dick on earth.
Yeah, those guys.
I feel like it has something to do with Redux, but this is...
I don't, like, I started noticing this a few months before Redux, whatever, got even announced.
Right, but this is another topic for after we've both played Redux, and we're probably going to tear the fuck into it.
Yeah.
Now talking about characters of 1.
Ooh.
Surf being a blank slate self-insert worked out for once, because that's literally his character as an emotionless killing bot. It actually worked out for once, and they worked it into the plot, and it didn't seem like fucking Chad Narukami. Sorry,
Yeah.
Chad Zeodine Cock, gotta get that right.
Yeah, like, a lot of the time, people will say, like, I love da-da-da protagonist. Like, they'll say, I love Strange Journey protagonist or whatever. But I think people confuse designs with, like,
actual character.
with a personality.
Like the meat.
Exactly, yeah.
Like the meat of Surf, it works with the plot.
Right, because there's a reason for him to be, like, have, like, a protagonist mentality.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, and characters like the Persona 3 protagonists kind of work for that, because they're more like an I don't give a fuck type guy.
Yeah.
So it's easier to insert yourself into his mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you do like a shrug through of Persona 3, basically?
Mm-hmm. You can, yeah. Most opportunities, he has like a option, you know?
I like Argilla. She was similar to like, she has, to draw another Persona 5 parallel, she has like similar issue to On, where once her big like thing is over and her heart is broken, she doesn't really do shit for the rest of the game. Like after Ginana dies, she's kind of just there. She just exists, and after Bat's done, she just doesn't really have any more moments for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I find that in general, Atlas kind of has a hard time writing women that matter in like the grand context of the story. Like,
right.
Like in Strange Journey, that's a good example because Lennon is like, she's the law representative, right?
Right.
So she plays a major role in that. But generally speaking, the women are kind of like, they're not focal to the plot, basically.
Sarah was pretty alright.
Yeah, Sarah's a major part of it, and she's like the secondary protagonist.
Basically, wasn't she? Yeah, she's on the cover. She's in the logo, isn't she?
Yeah, she's on the cover of 2.
And she's in the logo for Digital Devil Saga.
Right.
And here we go. Heat's slow descent from kind of like hot-headed her cannibalistic asshole. So wait, sorry. Heat's descent from like hot-headed soldier boy to I'm going to eat your fucking face you fat freak, like that shit. Okay, can we do a quick tangent to talk about how hilarious Heat's dialogue is?
Heat is pretty fucking funny, and the voice acting helps enormously. Because I love the guy's voice.
Like I'm like, what was it? Like the ambush line is like, "Your ass is mine."
Yeah.
And whenever he's doing Crossfire, where he just does like the thing where he does like the back arch of like the nope, and he just gives you a thumbs down.
Yes. Like, I was expecting Heat to be one of those characters that's like, I hate this fucking guy. But, I don't know, you end up
works.
Yeah, you end up with kind of like a weird respect for Heat.
The whole forcing a kiss on Sarah thing towards like the middle of the third act of Digital Devil Saga 1, somewhere around there. That was basically just making me like, oh no, he's a gross fucking molesty, ew. And this piled on with what his character is like for the first like 3/4 of 2 is basically make you think, oh, he's a piece of garbage, and then it flips you on your head. It's like, no, Surf who was the asshole.
Yeah.
The entire time. I saw it coming a mile away, but that doesn't change.
I did it because I was expecting him to like just kind of be a dick. But, like, a dick that the game expects you to be like, yeah, this is fine, you know?
Right. Let's talk about Gale.
I like Gale. I love Gale.
I like Gale, too. I love Gale, yes. He went out like a bitch in 2. Genuinely broke my heart. But, like, I feel like his entire thing of, like, being a subpar, dull tactician in 1, that was the point. And they nailed that on point. Right. And his voice acting did it.
See, I never really thought of him as being, like, a boring character. I always thought of him more as, like, an I don't give a fuck type. Who's just not very emotional about stuff.
Right. Like, all I knew about Digital Devil Saga going in was like the her I do not comprehend meme.
Yeah.
So like the first time, like for the first half of the game, it's like, is this really all he's going to say?
You were expecting him to be an idiot.
I was expecting it to be like, is like, oh, haha, he said the meme, and then after a while, like probably halfway through the game, Chibi in the chat kind of just buckle and it's like, oh, he's great. Oh shit. Cielo is literally the same through both games. I don't really mind. Cielo was great. Mm-hmm. He was top tier comic relief.
Yeah,
I love it.
Because he doesn't force himself into a way that's like, look at me, I'm funny. Like the way that they tried and failed miserably with like Teddy.
But yeah, Cielo, he just naturally comes off as fucking hilarious. Mm-hmm. Like, I think after you fight the Trivatistada or whatever the hell they were called in 2, the first. Like he's like after you fight them, he's like, what are those Naruto running nerds doing? And then they just leave, and as we all know, this ends in the glorious "Where's your buddies?"
Cielo's voice is so good. All their voices are really good.
All of their voices,
even though half of them are like not trying, that's part of what makes it.
It's part of what makes it even better.
Yeah.
So with that, any closing thoughts before we close the door on 1?
I like Digital Devil Saga 1 a lot. Like, now you're giving me a hankering to go replay the thing. Because, like Digital Devil Saga 1, I think, is one of those games that you'll probably enjoy more on a second playthrough, because...
Oh, yeah, because after you beat 2, it recontextualizes.
Right, it like, the shit clicks with you. And I like stories like that a lot, where it kind of takes a second go through to really get it, you know?
Yeah, exactly, which is... It's a very hard thing to pull off.
Right. Because that requires a lot of planning.
I mean, it genuinely impressed me. It really did. I think it might be scaling, even with the ending throwing me for a loop. I think it has scale to be my favorite Megami Tensei game. Period.
It's pretty up there.
So I guess that would make Digital Devil Saga Duology, Persona 2 Duology, Soul Hackers, Strange Journey, Persona 3. By the way, when do you want to finish Persona 2? Huh?
What? You'll have to speak up. I'm a trifle deaf.
When you want to finish Persona 2?
Right, so Digital Devil Saga 2.
Alright, on to Digital Devil Saga 2. I did not like how this game opened up. At all.
I think my biggest fear whenever I start any game is that it's gonna have that, like, start of game feel to it, you know? Where it's like, you gotta get through all this story and all this setup and tutorials.
The sheer amount of exposition in the first 2 hours of Digital Devil Saga 2. Like, where you just sit down with Roland for, like, 30 minutes, and he's like, oh, this Asura project, and he just goes on and on and on.
Like, I'm sure part of that was made because, they expected at least some small, retarded minority of people to buy and play 2 first? Yeah. But, like, also, why would you do such a thing?
Yeah, and this goes back to like the whole Roland's first scene outside of him, like, oh, welcome to the Loca College, like him smashing down whiskey, and like, yep, character established.
Yep.
Character established. But I like how he went against that later, especially in his like, and we're just going balls in with the fucking spoilers. Like even in his dying moments, he's like, "What like karma goes around and around, and it eventually comes back to bite you."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I wasted all that time drinking. I squandered the life that my friend died saving. So at the very least, I'm going to blow myself up and avenge my men. Roland, despite how little he did, he was actually fantastic.
Yeah, all the, like, this is already spoilers as fuck, but all the death scenes in, I almost called it Persona 2 because you've got it stuck in my head now, in Digital Devil Saga 2 are really good.
Well, Gale went out like a bitch.
Yeah, but he went out in a bitch way that's like, damn, Gale.
And then there's Cielo where he's like screaming and vomiting blood and smashes into a fighter jet.
Autistic screeching, yeah.
Like, Gale's Cielo's entire death scene is just him like, oh, you want a piece of me, fuckos?
Yeah.
He's not even talking, he's just screaming the entire time while like dodging missiles and smashing into fighter jets and blowing the entire plane up. Like, I remember at the end, like, where he has both of his wings clipped off and he's just screaming and vomiting blood and just headbutts a fighter jet.
What a fucking way to die.
Let's see, the Karma Society Tower, that was, I mean, I don't even want to talk about the meat processing plant, that whole dungeon. Ugh.
I think that was the worst part of the entire duology, is that shit. Just because it frustrated the fuck out of me.
Clang, 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 clang.
Oh, no, don't make that noise.
That whole thing, like, that entire thing made me anxious as shit.
That's like straight out of a survival horror game type deal.
Yeah, the thing is, he just naturally looks fucking horrifying. So there's a bit where you're captured in a human meat processing plant. Yes, this is a thing. Process humans are a thing in Digital Devil Saga 2.
Right. They're like the pills in SMT4.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. The whole meat processing plant, you get caught by the warden of what's basically the prison section of it. And you do this cool prison escape thing where it's like, oh, you need to go to X room on X side of the building. You got it. You walk out and you just see him like, oh, I see a little rat that's escaped. And he just stomp, clang, clang, clang. He just runs after your ass. Fuck that entire section. Scared the shit out of me.
That's really terrifying. Like, I get spooked pretty easy. And so that whole thing was like, no,
that section was terrifying. But yeah, after that you go to the Karma Society Tower, which is where Jenna works, and Jenna's boss Margot QVA, who is relevant for 20 seconds and gets her brains blown out in hilarious fashion.
Yeah, she's a very weird character because, like, you figure, oh right, that's the big bad guy, and then she really isn't at all.
And it's basically just Heat. Mm-hmm. Basically the main antagonist. Like, even God at the very end, he's kind of just there. Like, establishing Heat as a villain within the Karma Society, that was a pretty smart move. Just continue, like, the Heat O'Brien and I think it was Surf Sheffield altercation that went on back when
the widest names possible.
Heat O'Brien, Surf Sheffield. Yeah.
Ignore the Heat and Surf part, but the last names are pretty white.
O'Brien and Sheffield, yeah. Like, this is something we need to, like, establish early on. Surf literally ruined everything.
So explain the relationship between, like, Surf, the human being, and Surf, like, the weird digital manifestation.
So, Surf, the human being, was basically a two-faced cunt to Sarah, where it's like,
really evil.
Yeah, he was basically like, oh, I am very kind and supporting to Sarah, but in the background, it's like, yeah, I'm basically just using her to get God, and if she fucking dies, well, fuck it, let's go to child number 20. Right, and he dies, and this leads to this whole, we're probably going to get into this more in the plot discussion, but Surf literally fights his own demons, and he realizes that he is the good boy Surf, and he must accept the fact that he was, in life,
the bad boy.
A horrible human being.
He can be your Angle or your devil.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally the Varna boss fight. Did your draw hit the ground when he just punched a hole through Surf's chest at the end of the EGG facility?
Yeah, I was like, what? Like, because you don't expect that to happen to a protagonist.
Yeah, even though he didn't actually die, like, you just see him. He gets a hole punch in his chest and he falls off a cliff, basically. I believe that was the moment where I said, well, time to make Gale the strongest boy in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to the 99 and everything Gale that I made after 20 hours of grinding.
See, Digital Devil Saga does this thing where I'm not sure how I feel about it, just as a philosophy, is like characters that die in role-playing games. Because, like, a lot of the time, if a character that you've been using dies, that leaves a bad vacancy in...
Yeah,
like,
I kind of like how you had to pick up the pieces after.
Yeah, like, that's especially fucked up if experience isn't shared among the party. Because then it's like, oh, shit.
Well, time to grind up Cielo again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that, like, I like it in the fact that the characters die, and they literally do for a while, until story stuff.
And then cut to the next dungeon where Roland dies horribly after probably some of the most heartbreaking dialogue in that entire game. And Argilla gets Argilla, worthless to the end, can't even flip a fucking lever on her body by herself.
Yes.
And Roland, who by the way doesn't have legs at this point, climbs the console and is like, "Yo, I got you, baby," and just falls on the lever. Like, he dies on the lever and it pulls the lever down. And
That's right. Both of them died at like the same time.
Yeah, and you just see him like slide off the console like a pile of spaghetti. It's fucking hilarious. This is something that's like chat's like, "Oh no, this will make sense later," and it never did.
Okay.
Argilla's tears just gives Sarah the water crown.
You'll have to explain. I don't quite remember that part.
The water crown is Surf's Atma mark.
Oh, that! Yeah.
And like Argilla just cries and she's like, "I've inherited Surf's power. I can now do the thing." And it's like, what?
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't have, like, the shit later I can kind of explain, but
that's just a moment of what?
yeah. Like, I'm sure you can figure out some reason for it, but...
There's going to be, like, that one super SMT fan who explains all of this shit to us in a single, like, 4 gorillion page comment.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that if you're out there, help me. I don't understand.
Yeah, honestly, Guy, answer that question, because I don't really know about that one.
Yeah, you probably don't even know this fucker, but it's like Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Okay, good. I'm going to rip off something you said, like, death often comes in the form of that it's much too quick or much too slow, and that is a quick-ass fuck... Well, for Roland, it wasn't very quick, but... Like, in terms of, like, pacing, that they were gone within, like, minutes.
Yeah, like, the deaths feel very natural because it just happens. And
Except for Gil's.
Right, there's usually not, like, a long build-up where you can tell character is about to die. And that's what I really like, is that to the very end, you kept guessing, like, is Dada gonna die? And if so, like, when?
Okay, the one time where that kind of falls through is, like, it got to the point where, like, oh, Gale's talking about, like, oh, no matter what happens, move forward. I'm like, you're fucked. Next scene, impaled. What? Like, this whole little bit in the note here is, I'm not even going to touch the mess of a magic MacGuffin that is Schrodinger.
I cannot wait to talk about that cat. I love that cat
and
everything associated with him.
Okay, so the fucking cat brings Surf back to life. It's basically like some Evangelion type shit where they're in the life juice and it's keeping them alive.
Life juice.
Yeah, it's basically life juice. And like Heat has vored the entire facility at this point. Like he's
turning to like the big, like, he looks like a big plant monster.
Yeah, he looks like a Venus flytrap, basically. And inside Heat is the EGG machine that Sarah used to talk to God, and inside the EGG machine is just Yuri Lowenthal talking to Yuri Lowenthal, the furry, talking to Yuri Lowenthal, the human, talking to Yuri Lowenthal, the demons.
That's just how Yuri Lowenthal feels when he goes into work, is that he's gonna have a lot of conversations with himself.
Exactly. That entire... By the way, my emulator just melted with that scene because of the water effect, so I had Vaporwave Yuri Lowenthal talking to me. Here's the thing, where Heat teleports to the command room, and he's basically like... The game's basically telling you you're going to have a 1v1 boss fight with Heat, and it's going to be fucking awesome, and you get in here, and he just bleeds to death, and you're like, oh. Like, did you go in there thinking you were going to have a sick 1v1 weakness fight?
I thought I was going to have, like, a Dante versus Virgil type, like... rivalry fucking battle.
And then you get in there, you have a heartfelt exchange, and he just dies. Oh, that the whole scenario was fantastic. Like, to the very end, you can just tell him we are comrades no matter what you do. I was told in advance how to get Heat as a party member at the very end. But after a while, I realized these are all the choices I would have picked anyways. If you go into the game with a mindset of what goes around comes around, be a good human being, you just end up with heat anyways because you're picking the good boy. I want to defend people answer, you know?
See, I would not have gotten him because I'm like a give and take asshole. Like if characters in video games give me shit, then I'll usually give them the same shit right back.
Right. I kind of just realized that if this game's banking so hard on karma, just be a good human being, it will work out in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Right, and now going along to the airport, which kind of sucked as a dungeon.
I barely even remember the airport.
Here comes the part where the game lost me.
Okay.
The moment, like, it wasn't them flying, like fucking Danny Phantom goes to the sun. That was fine. It wasn't even becoming Seraph, and we're probably going to have a tangent about how much I fucking hate Seraph's design later.
Okay.
It was like when everybody starts coming out of the woodwork, like, yo, look at this, we're comrades at the end. Fuck yeah, they all just like Superman through the sun. And just bro out for like 20 seconds. Roland's like, oh man, I may be dead, but here you go, Heat. It's time for the Embryon to get back together. And Ginana and Lupa give up and give everybody superpowers. Jenna gives you the most broken spell in the game. And then you're just like, well, I'm stuck here with a very jarring shift of like mood. Incredibly jarring. And probably the worst opening dungeon theme I've ever heard in anything ever.
Like the sun?
The opening, like the sun, surface of the sun. Horrible track. Absolutely fucking dog shit. It gets better as you get deeper, but like at the very start, it's just awful.
Yeah, I didn't really remember it, so when I was looking through your mountain of notes, I was like, was the Sun song that bad? And I was like, this is pretty hard to listen to.
Yeah, exactly. And mind you, I had it on for about 10 minutes while I was organizing skills. Yeah, again, in the pile notes, can we talk about how fucking terrible Seraph looks?
I don't really mind Seraph, but I don't like Shim as much as either Sarah or Surf.
It took me a second to catch that, the Shim.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been fine if it wasn't for the dumb, like, metal super panties. Or, like the salt and pepper hair, bearable. Like, what killed it was just those fucking dumb panties.
That's your biggest problem?
Yes. Yes. I will nitpick. You know I love nitpicking. A lot of the dungeons in 2 were really dull and linear.
Yeah.
Even when compared to the drab, like, military aesthetic of 1, it's still boring.
Yeah, the dungeons aren't its strongest suit. Like, visually, I find they're just not very interesting, because a lot of them are just buildings.
Except for the EGG Revisited, when it's
that place is pretty cool.
When it's
and
like
the sun is neat.
Yeah, the sun is neat, and the Eldritch Nightmare that is the EGG facility.
But like, I feel like SMT 4 kind of has the same problem, where it's like it's all just buildings and streets, and it's like I can walk out of my house and go see a building in a street. But like, I feel like games like Nocturne and like Strange Journey and Persona 5, they kind of have an edge in terms of like, because they're more fantasy
they can go
in
nuts.
terms of the locations.
They can go...
So they have room to be creative. Whereas in a setting like Digital Devil Saga or SMT4, like a lot of the early SMT games are like really city based. You're kind of limited in like, here's building, let's make it the most interesting building that we can make it. I like how the sun has, like, a genuine reason, or, like, story-wise, for reintroducing a lot of the shit that has no real business being there.
Like Bat.
Like Bat?
Yeah, we went to the same
devil.
place. Alright, so the entire thing is, like, whenever something dies, whenever something decays or goes away, it returns to the sun. It's like this endless rebirth cycle, as I assume that ties into Hindu lore.
Yeah, the Hindu mythology is all about, like, reincarnation and...
Yeah, because that would explain quite a bit then why everybody's data is there.
Right.
Can we just take a minute to admire that Braham? Is that how you say it? Braham?
I believe it's Brahmin.
Brahmin? Oh yeah, it's Brahmin.
Brahmin, like the cows in Fallout.
Yeah, Brahmin. Oh wow.
Yeah, that's why they're named that.
Wow.
And there was like a whole big, well, not like a big stink, because what the fuck are a bunch of what's this religion?
Hindus?
Yeah, Hindu people were like, you literally just named cows after our literal actual god.
And then, like, it takes a minute to realize, like, wait, Hinduism's still a thing?
Yeah, it's still a thing. It's like, it's pretty hipster, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, people like, wait, the Hindus are complete. They're still going.
Like some old weird pop group, like they're still going.
Yeah. Can we just take a minute to admire the fact that he goes on literally forever?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Like the moment I realized he just pops out of existence and he just goes and goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of prefer I kind of like how Shin Megami Tensei portrays infinity in its games. Like there is the Gorillion heads that is YHVH, or as Apocalypse went, broken tape recorder.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that shit. And I kind of prefer the infinite train, like the infinite fuck you train that was Braum to the infinite heads. You know what I mean? I feel like as YHVH embodies omnipresence, like he sees all, Brahmin really hammers.
It's more like infinity.
Yeah, he really hammers home that he is everything and you are everything. And I think at one point I wrote like how I like how this kind of goes in with like the bullshit Amala antics, as I like to call it, established in Nocturne, where it's like the many different forms of God through Shin Megami Tensei, which I actually really, really enjoy. And I feel like they're kind of dropping that because, you know, SMT5 is like when it takes place after Apocalypse and
maybe. Well, not necessarily.
I feel like it probably will. Although
it could, like, in general, SMT likes to not go forward, but go sideways.
But I feel like it's going to go with, like, them existing in the universe Nadashi created, because I think the Anarchy ending is the canon ending.
No way. No way.
I think
there's no conceivable way on this planet.
I'm pretty sure the Anarchy ending is the canon ending. Like, oh man, let's cuck Flynn and fuck his girlfriend in front of him.
I would prefer that. I think that would be funny.
Yeah, because all I can see is like Nadashi like fucking fucking slamming his 2-inch Punisher into Isabeau, and Flynn's just
2-inch Punisher,
and Flynn's just standing there like he's screaming on the inside and like, don't be a cuck, don't be a cuck. And like outside, he's like, "Good job, master."
Now, this is my belief, is that I don't think they're gonna like reference SMT4 Apocalypse like in terms of an overarching story ever again. I feel like that particular string is
they're dropping it.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Fair enough. What do you think the one word is?
I think it's a boring answer. I think it's just love. Honestly, that's what I think it is.
I mean, I don't really know. I don't really see much of the plot having to do with love.
Like that.
Like you have Ginata, you have Surf and Sarah. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mean like love as in romantic love. I mean love more as just like a concept of like don't be a cock to one another.
Because like what I feel like it's probably more. I feel like it's more along the lines of struggle because that's what's ever present throughout 1 and 2. It's It's like the singular thread through everything. So, any final closing thoughts on Digital Devil Saga?
I want to go back and play them again now, because my memory on Digital Devil Saga is kind of hazy. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed Digital Devil Saga. I like how they're more story and character driven. Like, I'll never understand this, but a lot of the SMT, like, real hard-ass elitists have this real problem with, like, characters in general.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, and yes, this is like an actual
and like,
thing.
They'll sit there and be like, I miss the way the good characters from back in the day. You mean like Chaos Hero, whose entire personality is like
school shooter?
Right, he's basically a school shooter. Is like, I am Chaos Man. So I feel like a lot of them, they have this weird fascination with like the old way that things used to be. And that old way was never really that amazing. Like, sure, in some ways, like, you can't just sit there and be like, fuck characters because you don't like SMT4 Apocalypse's characters. Like, go play Digital Devil Saga. And you'll see that it is actually perfectly fine to have an SMT game that has characters that, like, talk to each other and form relationships.
Right. Like, what Digital Devil Saga has done to me, it's making me sit down and really just pick apart how genuinely genius this game is. Mm-hmm. This is making me reconsider Megami Tensei as a whole. To the point where I just want to sit down and think about everything, like all of the Megami Tensei content I've consumed over this year and just write an essay. I think that might be how I end up capping off the year, now that I think about it.
That sounds pretty good.
a big essay on Megami Tensei as a whole and what I feel like its point is, the meat of this franchise. Yes, like every game has its own individual strengths and issues. Like as much as people harp on like, oh, Persona 5 sucks, like, or as much people harp on, you know, Strange Journey is garbage, or
Yeah,
so
that's the
on.
new cool meme.
They're different games that excel in different arms and legs of Megami Tensei, and the one that like Digital Devil Saga is the jack of all trades. You know, there's only going to be the one guy who hates me because I like this game.
I don't think that's possible. I've never, ever in my life heard of somebody who's like, "Ew, a Digital Devil Saga fan." That doesn't happen in the same way that happens to like Persona 4 enjoyers or like Strange Journey or like Nocturne or like any of them. I've never heard that happen for Digital Devil Saga.
But yeah, love this game.